Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined as always by my counterpart on the East Coast, Nate Weitzer. Got a great article on playpicks.com for you guys tonight. We did not have a gift card winner last night, Nate, despite some people jumping in the comments and trying. Also got a call out that I look like Nick Collison, Thunder Great. So I appreciate that for my guy. And for tonight, we are going to have another one for you. So stay tuned for that. And as always, if you do need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com. Make sure you like and subscribe that page and then jump in those comments tonight. And we're just going to get into a pretty small slate tonight, Nate, that we're going to try to dissect however we can here on Thursday night, the 25th of March.
Yeah, small slate, but definitely some mistakes from odds makers early. We're seeing a lot of line movement right now. Looking at the games, we have Blazers right now +3 at Heat. Wizards also +3 at Knicks in a rematch there. Clippers -6 at Spurs in an immediate rematch. Sixers are -5.5 at Lakers. And Warriors +2.5 at Kings. So keep in mind, today is the trade deadline. The Spurs are the biggest team playing that could be involved in some moves. Almost certainly will be. Miami and Philly are both in the hunt for Kyle Lowry. So just, you obviously have to check back. The trade deadline hits at 3 p.m. Check back after that to see how these things might affect the games. But looking at the lines as they opened, the first thing that struck me was the Sixers, and once again getting a small spread against a team that's without its best players, which doesn't really make sense. They're the best team in the NBA over the last 10 games, best net rating, best defensive rating. But the bigger thing that struck me was a total of 211, which is insanely low in an NBA game that doesn't involve the Knicks or the Magic or some team that just literally can't score or plays at a slow pace. The Sixers are playing at the 7th fastest pace in that 10-game span, and the Lakers are 11th. The Sixers, without Embiid, they're gonna go more fast break. They lead the league in fast break points. They're gonna go up the tempo. The Lakers have no rim protection with no Anthony Davis, no LeBron James. Their defensive rating is 115 without LBJ, 2-5 in their last 7 without the King. So I like the Sixers to cover here. They're averaging, but more importantly, I like that over, which has already risen to 214.5. So You got to keep an eye on that as the day goes. I'd say don't go above 217, 218, definitely. But you look at the Sixers results; they have 3 games all year that didn't go over 212. 2 of them involved the Knicks, like I said. So it's just the way the Lakers are playing right now. The way they have to play without LeBron James, they're gonna ratchet up the tempo. It's gonna burn them on the other end. And I do think they can score enough against Philly to get this at least over a very modest total. You put the two together, you put a Sixers win and an over, and you get about +180 on DraftKings. Definitely like that as a parlay, and I tried to hit it as early as possible.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I think we're looking at, an attempt from Vegas to sort of trick people into not realizing that without Embiid, the Sixers are still a good team. I wouldn't have said that necessarily last year, but they've got a few extra pieces that allow them to put points on the board this year versus how well they were playing last year, especially with Tobias stepping up and Ben Simmons continuing to be the Swiss Army knife that he is. 211 is tiny. I'm very comfortable with all the way up to 217, as you mentioned.
And Seth Curry might be back tonight too. I forgot to mention. Yeah,
precisely. All pointing towards points for sure. And I definitely trust the 76ers without their star way more than the Lakers without their 2 best players. So that definitely seems low, and I'm with that one. Another spread, Nate, with a couple of East Coast squads. We got the Knicks and the Wizards. I have stayed away from the Knicks a good amount this year, but I do like what I'm seeing on the second leg of that sort of mini series, 2-game series that we see this year, back-to-backs. This one has a day in between, obviously, as the Knicks pounded the Wizards on Tuesday night, and that was their second win of the season by 18 points over the Wizards. So I think we are seeing that the Knicks style of ball does dominate the Wizards, who don't really have another style other than push the ball and get points, and that's really it. So with the Knicks, you've got Randall putting up in the 2 games this season against them. He's got a line of 30, 12, and 3 on a really good efficiency numbers as well. His total points, rebounds, and assists tonight is just 42.5, and I think he's easily going to cover that. He's got 37 points in a game against them this year already. They don't rebound the ball. They don't defend the ball. And something interesting is on these little, back to these B2Bs, if you will, in terms of playing another team 2 games in a row. They're 0-4 on the second leg of those against the same team. So they don't seem to be able to really do much in the second one. Bradley Beal often sits sometimes, or Russ Westbrook has, even though they're playing well together now, or playing together now. They're not playing together well. The Wizards have nothing really to lean their hat on in the last 15, 16 games. They're not covering the spread in that instances. I really like the Knicks at home. And just, my last thing for them, 7-2 at home against the spread as a home favorite. They're only home favorite 9 times this season, but it's worked out 7 of those times for them. So I'm gonna ride that wave with the Knicks tonight.
Yeah, I think the Wizards losing that second leg is more about adjusting to them than them finding adjustments for the other team, and that's mostly adjusting to the speed and physicality of Russell Westbrook, right? If you can build that wall, if you can keep him out of the paint, I mean, he hasn't hit a three against the Knicks all year. Tom Thibodeau knows how to defend him. He's averaging just 18.5 points
Yeah.
on 36% field goal shooting against those Knicks this year. And the Wizards have won 2 games in their last 11, and it's because Westbrook went off. So, yeah, the Knicks can limit them. They just got Mitchell Robinson back to help protect the paint even more. They
Yep.
can hold Westbrook in check. They're going to win again.
Yep.
So love the pick. Yeah.
Yeah, they're the best 3-point defensive team in the league right now. And the Wizards give up a ton of points in the paint, a ton of points from 2, and that's where the Knicks get all their points. So yeah, it's an easy dub for me tonight.
Mhm. Looking at an intriguing game in Miami, right? The Blazers visiting the Heat. The Heat have been extremely unpredictable, really all season. You just don't know from a leadership perspective what's going on there. They've lost
Yeah,
4 in a row. They tended to bounce back all the time from losses last year. They went 27-8 after a loss, but they're around 500 this year. The Blazers are also looking at a little mini skid, 2 games, despite getting CJ McCollum back. I don't know how to play the spread in this one. I did like the over. It's another one that opened too low at 219 and is climbing now to 221. Because the Heat, what they do best is deny paint points. They're number 1 in paint defense, but they give up the 3rd most 3-point attempts and makes, and that's what the Blazers want to do. 2nd best 3-point shooting team, 2nd highest percentage of points off threes. Now they have McCollum back. They can really burn you from deep. In the last 4 meetings between these teams, we're averaging 228.5 points per game. Dame Lillard has 32 plus in 4 of his last 5 against Miami. So I'm really looking at the props here. Dame has had a couple quiet games and losses. I don't think he abides by that again. I think he will be much more aggressive. Getting over 28.5 is his points prop. And on the other end, the Blazers can't stop anyone down low. Enes Kanter especially can't stop someone quick like Bam Adebayo. I think he easily gets over 18.5 points. You can look at his rebounds props as well against a fast-paced Portland team. And Jimmy Butler, only 8.5 rebounds is his prop. He's averaging 10.6 in his last 5. So I love getting plus odds on that and looking at the total PRA for Jimmy at 37.5.
yeah, no, for sure. Real quick, that's what I would like to make the gift card option tonight is that Jimmy Butler points, rebounds, and assists total. So go ahead and jump in those comments tonight. Make sure you are liked and subscribed to the page to be eligible to win that gift card, and give us the exact total of what you think Jimmy Butler's points, rebounds, and assists combined will be tonight to win that gift card. I am looking for Jimmy to have a big game, but I am really concerned about picking Miami in any way tonight, considering exactly what you mentioned, which is that last year they were those dogs that if they lost a game, you felt that they were going to come back and win the next one. I have no idea what they're playing for this year. There doesn't seem to be that same chip, as they have not shown the same capabilities on the second, after a loss as they are this year. So, I'm more comfortable with the total, as you mentioned. I think there will be points tonight, based on what these teams do well on offense versus not do well on defense. I'm looking for Dame and company to go off as well as Jimmy for the over in that one. And then the last one I'll bring up tonight, Nate, is that Sacramento Golden State game. This is an interesting series between 2 teams that know each other really well, but are obviously used to Stephen Curry usually being in the game, or Klay Thompson or someone of that nature. Neither of those guys obviously will be suiting up tonight. So what we're looking at here, honestly, even though, we've got a Sacramento team that has not played well in defense recently, they are on another streak of sorts. winning. I believe they won 3 of their last 4, 4 of their last 5. And against the spread, they've been covering about at least half the time in those games. So I do like them with a really small spread against Golden State at home. If you look at recent meetings against these teams, the under has hit a ton. But more importantly, Sacramento has covered against a really, normally a really good Golden State team in 7 of their last 8 meetings. You consider that they had some stars in some of those last 8 meetings. And you see Sacramento doing really, really well against them at home as well, covering 5 of their last 7 against the Dubs at home. So especially without Steph, this team doesn't score points, obviously, without him. In their last 5, where they're 1-4, they've got 102 points per game. That's not going to cut it against a Kings team that we know is going to push the ball and get that tempo up. But I am not concerned as well. If you do like the total in that game at around 225.5, I still think you've got guys like Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, Kelly Oubre that can put the ball in the net enough to be able to hang with the Kings team. That's definitely going to be able to score 110, 115 at least on this Dubs team tonight.
Yeah, the key stat for me in this one is the Kings are the worst 3-point defense in the league. They have been, but in their last 10 games, they're third in opponents' 3-point percentage. Dubs still leaning on that 3-point shot even without Curry. And if they can't find that against the Kings, I don't know where they turn. Versus the Kings, who are a streaky team, won 4 of their last 5 and seem to enjoy playing without Marvin Bagley, who kind of caused that downward spiral earlier in the season. Some drama. So absolutely, I think they can handle it on the second half of a back-to-back.
For sure.
So finally, looking at a DFS perspective tonight, we mentioned Bam Adebayo, we mentioned Dame Lillard, probably having a lot of success in that matchup. If Goran Dragic is still out, you gotta like Kendrick Nunn, maybe even Tyler Hero against a poor interior Blazers defense. Aside from Randall, I like both RJ Barrett and Alec Burks against that poor Wizards defense. I do like Jordan Poole to bounce back after a down game against that Kings D, and I love Tyrese Halliburton at his price tag in that game. Excuse me. If you need some value at center, Zubac, my man, is getting his all the run he can handle with Serge Ibaka out. And again, watch for news at a Spurs camp. Rudy and Lonnie Walker were ruled out in the last game. DeMar DeRozan could even be traded. If something big like that goes down, other guys are going to step up with a lot of usage. I would look at Keldon Johnson, Derek White, DeJounte Murray in that instance.
For sure. No, I think there's some good plays tonight, even though you got a really small slate. I know we'll be going on some head-to-head on FanDuel, so looking forward to that. As we mentioned, make sure you jump into the comments and give us that total points, rebounds, and assists for Jimmy Butler on the Heats tonight. The Heat, not the Heats. And we will definitely make sure you liked and subscribe to the page as well, so you are eligible for that gift card. That's all the time we have for now, Nate. So we will be back to finish out the week tomorrow and checking in on those games with you guys tonight. So as for tonight, happy betting.
Go Heats!